Word here.
The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What's up, everybody? It is the week, May 17th, 2020. My name is Taylor Cooper. This is Might Be Sports. With me, as always, Kevin Reavy. What up, Reavy?
What's going on? Let's do this.
We are. We're doing this whole thing over the internet, as everybody's doing now, and we've been doing live shows. This is pre-recorded. We're in our time-space continuum right now. It is Sunday night, and we just finished up a live episode of Might Be Sport or Might Be News over the weekend. It was a lot of fun. Reavy stopped in there for that to briefly talk about the return of sports. But we have a very special guest on this show from the podcast, The Walk Off. You know him from the show. He's been on here a bunch of times. Everybody give it up for Ryan Spaeder.
Whoa. What an intro.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'll take
Spaeder,
that.
Dude. Thank you so much for being here, man. How's it going?
It's great. Really, really thrilled to always join you, gentlemen.
Oh, man.
Apply the word gentleman to one of you.
I thank you for that.
Yeah.
I thank you for that. Dude, I'm so excited to talk to both of you. It's been a crazy couple months for everybody. And Spader's got his I see his beer going in the Might Be News Network koozie there. But it's been such a crazy month for everybody, or couple months for everybody. And one thing that I miss the most out of everything is sports. And I know a lot of people are right there with me on that. What do you guys think about? There's some grumblings going on, Major League Baseball, NHL, NFL, even NBA. It's looking like they're coming back soon. What are you guys thinking about all this stuff?
Well, I just want to say right off the bat, sports is not entirely over because we're still in the thick of Survivor right now. So we got a few episodes left. The fourth best sport in America is still going strong right now. I'm a little worried. I'm concerned about next season, but we'll worry about that when it's time to worry about that. So we have that. Survivor's safe for now. A few episodes left.
Yeah. How many episodes?
By the way,
halfway through the season?
More than halfway. I think we've got it. Always sneaks up on you because they'll be like, it's one of those shows where all of a sudden it'll be like next week's the last episode. You're like, there's like 5 people left. Like, yeah, we're gonna squeeze some tribal councils into one episode. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty for people that don't understand Survivor. Let's just say it's got a few weeks left. It's getting dangerously close. So we're getting close to the end of sports, but we're not exactly there yet. Just pointing that out. But yeah, so I want to know. We're hearing like people might think like baseball is coming back. I personally don't think it's as close as some people think. Spader, you're more in the know. If you had to put a percentage on it, do you think baseball is coming back this season?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll tell you what, where I'll go with an absolute is not necessarily baseball coming back, but I will give you one of two things that are definitely going to happen. That's either we're going to have a baseball season, a shortened season. I've been hearing July 4th for some time. Yeah. And then, of course, the recent public reports were right around the July 4th weekend. And then, but the other thing is, and the other possibility is a work stoppage. So they're able to bring back baseball, but then there's a strike. And so I would say with a degree of certainty that there's either going to be a baseball season or a baseball strike.
Now, strike because of most likely these guys are going to have to play for less money. Is that what you think?
Well, there's no most likely. They in fact already agreed to play for less money.
Okay.
However, now they're being asked to take even less. And I think that the owners and Major League Baseball as a whole, as Major League Baseball tends to do, really dropped the ball here because they had a golden opportunity to look good in the public eye by saying like, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. Revenue sharing, but we will take a 45 to 55 hit in favor of the Players Association. The Players Association can take the majority share. We'll take the hit in the public eye to the ignorant Joe Schmo, who's just a casual baseball fan, it looks like they're doing them a favor. In reality, they wouldn't have been. It's just about the public perception, right?
Right.
What they did instead was say, we're going to do 50-50 split. Major League Baseball players balked reasonably so. They would have a reason to balk even if they offered the 45-55 split. But what you don't have is the added public pressure, because the public would see that, hey, they're offering you the majority, like, right? We're trying. It seems like you're being greedy here, which really wouldn't be the
Great
case.
point, yeah.
But as Major League Baseball tends to be, and as the owners tend to do, bad business. It's a bad business move, and they should have really thought ahead here.
So this is where a lot of these comments, I know Bryce Harper's kind of been in some hot water this past week, sounding a little insensitive. I don't remember the other name of there was another player, not for the Phillies, somewhere else that made an initial comment, and Bryce kind of just jumped on it. Basically saying like not that they don't want to play for less money.
Blake Snell.
Yeah. So like I don't. Are there other sports going through the same thing right now? Like, is the NBA having these talks, NFL, stuff like that, or is it right now just MLB?
I don't know. I'm sort of ignorant, and I'm not really in the know when it comes to the other sports. One guy, and I'm going to name drop on you guys a little bit because I know you're both Flyers fans, but one guy who I've talked to a bunch, and I'm dumbfounded to this day that he actually values my opinion and has been texting me about baseball stuff, is Jim Jackson of the Flyers. So I'm going to have to ask him what's going on with the NHL, and maybe he'll have a little bit of inside knowledge there because he does Phillies games as well. But it's just cool for me to be able to talk baseball with a guy like that who I grew up idolizing, listening to call Flyers games, right? And then for whatever reason, he thinks that my opinion on baseball has some value and reaches out to me for that type of information. So maybe I can steal some hockey info for him and have that for you guys next time.
That'd be great. I mean, it's all so crazy and new to everybody, right? So like nobody, I just want sports back. I know that most likely fans aren't going to be able to go to the games right away. And, I've heard neutral ground being thrown around as far as like, no real home field, no real away games. Just, Bryce Harper even came up with an idea of having a round robin tournament for the playoffs, I heard, and flying everybody out to Vegas and just sleeping everybody on the strip, and that's it. Nobody leaves. They all just stay there and play. I think that sports coming back, whether it's this summer or this fall or whatever, it's all going to be so much different in some regard or another. I really hope that there's not a baseball strike. Oh my God.
So Ken, let me jump on this one. What Major League Baseball is trying to do here, and they have to do here, is they unfortunately have a situation where they can capitalize on a pandemic, which is a terrible thing, and this is an awful thing that people are going through, and there's no denying that. And if baseball is going to come back, it's got to come back on safe circumstances, right? But the fact of the matter remains that Major League Baseball has an opportunity to capitalize in that there is a casual baseball fan or a less than casual baseball fan or not a baseball fan at all out there who has nothing else to do.
Just waiting for something to watch.
They fire that. They can get the season even started. Let's say like even if they were able to start it a week or 2 weeks before there's some sense of normalcy, returning to most communities, then you're giving these individuals something to do that they wouldn't otherwise do. And then you're able to retain, hopefully, some of that audience in the future. And then people will constantly associate baseball with this nostalgic view of coming out of this horrible time. And I think that Major League Baseball has to do whatever they have to do, even if it's paying the players their full salary, which they're not going to do under any circumstance. The players already agreed to take 50% salary. But they're going to have to do whatever they have to do to get baseball in, as long as it's safe for everybody to do so.
Yep.
They get generational fans from this, like you said, coming back. And I remember when I was, 19 years old and we had coronavirus and blah, 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 baseball made me, blah, 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 telling their grandkids that shit, years and years and years from now. You're totally right. Reavy, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because, we're talking about Major League Baseball players, they're making the concessions now to play in the future, saying we might take half our salary, maybe even less, to play in the future. But the NBA, for example, they've already played half their season. They got paid half their season. They don't have to make that concession. They played, they made the money. So I can't see the NBA coming back because they did what MLB players are trying to like make a deal to do now, except it's already done. Like they already made half their money. It's done.
Do you think that the NBA would just jump right into the playoffs?
It's a pretty damn good deal. They already made half their money. And there's a deal. I'm not sure what the deals are in place right now, but they're probably getting paid still to this day some percentage, some deal, whatever it is. But regardless, they're set. They're fine. Yeah. And they're probably sitting back right now saying, you know what? Let's just chill. We're done.
Right.
We made half our salary. Pretty damn good deal considering. And the average NBA player is making more than the average MLB player. So it's good math. They're good. They're done. There's no motivation for them to keep going.
Well,
I don't see the NBA coming back at all. But I see, when you're making nothing, I see Major League Baseball players thinking, like, in general, let's get back to work. Let's make something.
So one thing on the NBA that I've just heard, and this is just being a fan of sports, right, is that they have like this text chain of all of the top ball players, right? And LeBron James is like, yeah, we got to get this in. And I kind of think it's weird in a way that like all of a sudden people are like, wait a second. Even like longtime LeBron James fans, after seeing this Jordan, legacy thing. Yeah. Last Dance thing. And the final episode coming tonight, people are like, hey man, Jordan actually was better than LeBron James. And I don't think LeBron likes that very much. Right. So he views this as a season in which he has to capture a championship.
They were red hot. Lakers were red hot.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I would be inclined to think that LeBron wants to finish this season up. And if he wants to finish the season up, well, I mean, how many basketball players grew up idolizing LeBron James, right? And these guys look to LeBron James as a mentor to them. It's no different than in Major League Baseball, right? What's going to matter is it doesn't matter that Sean Doolittle came out and said, hey, you know, I don't think this is fair or safe. It doesn't matter that Blake Snell, even though he's a Cy Young Award winner, said, you know, I'm not playing for less money. What matters is what Justin Verlander says and what Bryce Harper says and what Mike Trout says. Yeah. What matters in the NBA is what LeBron James says. And if LeBron James wants to play basketball and finish out this season, then I'm going to go out on a limb and say the majority of the league is going to back him.
Yeah, I read a report saying it was like LeBron, Kawhi, Steph, Curry, KD, Adam Silver, a bunch of people were in like a phone joint call, and it was unanimous they want to get back and play as soon as possible. The as soon as possible is still a question mark, obviously. I'm curious with the NBA and the NHL, who, like you said, Reavy, were halfway through their seasons or more when this happened. I'm curious if they just jumped right to the playoffs. Like, even if they broadened it a little bit just to add room for people that might have sneaked in. I don't know. Maybe maybe they shorten the series of games if that's the case. I don't know. One of the things that Bryce Harper was saying about the Major League Baseball playoffs, if they chose to do it a different way in this round robin thing, I think it was like a best of 4 series or something like that. I'd be down with that. I would be cool with that. Like, just
whatever you can get.
Yeah, like I'd be cool with that, or best of 3 or something like that, whatever it was. But like, even if it was shorter, I'd be cool with that. I think even if you wanted to change, like, it'd be stupid, but change the name of this trophy for 1 year, just change it, make it different, accept the fact that this champion of whatever league that we're talking about this season is going to win under different circumstances than every other team ever. That's fine, because it has to happen or it doesn't happen at all, which I don't think anybody wants to see that. You know, I've been watching The Last Dance every week, and it's just like, I want basketball back. Even though we were yelling and screaming about the Sixers all season, and I don't care. I still want to see the Sixers in the playoffs right now. You know, like,
yeah.
That's being robbed from all of us. The Flyers were red hot.
Oh, it means something.
Red hot.
Breaks my heart. I love the Flyers too. It's funny because I do baseball all the time, right? I tell Kev, and so I until recently I wouldn't even admit this on Twitter because it's bad for my rep, right? But hockey's the only sport that I'd rather go to and watch in person. Every other sport I'd rather watch on TV or at a bar or something. Baseball, it's like when I'm watching a baseball game, it's I'm like Alan from The Hangover sitting at a blackjack table with all the formulas going around my head because I'm thinking of the next number to come up with, and I can't really. I can't enjoy the game like I once did. But hockey, man, I just kick it back, throw up my feet, listen to Jim Jackson call the game, and crack a beer and enjoy it. And that, like you said, I feel like it's been robbed because, oh gosh, the Flyers finally have a great goalie. Everything was coming together. They were winning game after game. I think they were like 8-1-1 in their last 10 or something.
Something like that.
Man,
They were killing it. Yeah.
They were killing it, and just like that, it's like, what do we do now? And I don't really see how they're not gonna do something. I feel like it has to happen.
Well, it's so easy to just say it's done too. So I mean, it's very easy for that to be just done and it's over. But to that extent, like, I'm worried, like what you were saying, Ryan, like your love of the Flyers. That's how I feel about football. Like, I'm worried about going to Eagles games. I love going to games. That's my thing. I love football. Baseball's my first love, but I freaking love going to football games. I love going to those games, and that's what I've done. I'm okay. You got to make concessions. I'm okay with maybe not going to games, but I need there to be games, and I kind of need there to be a 16-game schedule, and I hope there still is. Who knows what it's going to be?
Right.
I'll be heartbroken. Like, it will be my first. I mean, I've accepted whatever baseball is going to be. If now they cut short football and there's a shortened version of football, then it just gets personal. And now I'm angry. Like, it's
for the record.
I hope it doesn't get to football.
I would like. I would sooner have there be a 16-game baseball season versus no baseball season.
Yeah.
And a full versus a full NFL season. I don't care at all. Like, I hope there's the NFL because I hope things are back to normal. I hope, but if you let me choose between the two, I'm taking, like, I that is so far from my mind right now. What's going to happen with the NFL? Because all I'm concerned about right now is baseball happening. Right? We were supposed to be 45 games into the season right now. Right?
Yeah.
Bryce Harper should have 20 homers. We should be Philly should be charged.
Yeah.
Aaron Nola should have thrown a no-hitter, and here we are.
But this is coming from a guy. I saw Ryan standing on a chair at Lincoln Financial Field in the club box section, leading a charge of 500 people in EAGLES when we beat the Falcons the second round of the playoffs in 2017 on the way to a Super Bowl championship.
The man can rally.
Eagles fan through and through.
The man can rally the troops, all right? And he does what it's got to be done. But I mean, having said that, at this stage in the game, it's so far out of my mind that I don't even care about it because it's not even something that I'm considering. Of course, they're coming up with plans and alternatives and everything right now. But as far as everything is concerned, the NFL is still 4 months away.
Yeah, I know.
Right. And the thing that concerns me about the NFL is, I mean, before I say this, nobody knows what's going on with this virus. They change what's good for you. They change what's bad for you. They change what's legal. They change what's not, all the time. And one of the things that concerns me about football is that there's a lot of people talking about another wave of this shit happening around the time of like fall, winter. What happens then? Is that going to be what affects the NFL? Is this round of whatever we're going through, is that going to be so far removed by the time that the NFL rolls around that there's another round of this coronavirus shit going on? And everybody's scared again and got to shut everything down again because they're getting ready to open up all the practice facilities for the NFL.
Right.
So they're preparing something, and same with baseball. I assume that most athletic teams around the nation are going to start practicing soon, or training at least.
I think that specific to what you're talking about, and I think that you can go throughout history and you can have, I guess, what you would call confirmation bias, right? You can find any number of viruses throughout history where it came in waves and everything. But the fact of the matter is what this is most similar to, this is COVID-19 is SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-1, 2003, 2004, was actually more lethal than this is now. However, it wasn't nearly as contagious. And there was, this is something that still exists. To my knowledge, there's no vaccine for it, but somehow we managed to mitigate and work around it. And it's not something that people really talk about anymore, even though it actually happens. And I'm inclined to think that this will go the way of that. I think people need to be smarter. It's like, with the social distancing, and which makes it impossible to go to ball games, right? With the just general practices, like wash your damn hands.
Right.
Like it's really, I can't believe we have to tell adults this. Like, you take a shit, wash your hands. Are you kidding me?
Well, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, all right, well, if sports starts back up, it's great, and they do it without a crowd and everything. Okay, well, when can they start bringing people in, and how are they going to do that? Are they going to block off seats that they can't sell? But then I see stories about like these airlines that are putting on their websites that they're only going to sell half the seats, and then people are taking pictures with all the seats full.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to make money too, whatever. And obviously, it takes money to fly wherever they're going, and if they can get 100 people to Florida in one flight and instead of 50 on two, whatever, I get it. But still, would that would be my fear as far as sports are concerned. Like, well, let these guys all sit together. They're here together, whatever, and then that turns into a stadium full of people again. And
And I kind of, here we are to talk about sports, and we end up talking about this whole thing. But of course, that's what's going on in the news today. And one thing that I can't stand is the fact that, look at the news, like, right, these are, and regardless, I don't care what anybody's bias is or what side you lean politically. It's regardless of which side you end up on. If you're watching CNN, Fox, NBC, any of them, you're going to get the same stuff. Well, 3-4 weeks ago, they were all reporting on Italy and all these other countries and what's going on in the countries. Well, they're not reporting on that anymore. You know why? Because if you go to, say, Spain, for example, everybody's living their lives normally.
It's better, right?
It's completely normal. And they're back and people are out rollerblading. Well, why would they report on that? Because it doesn't incite fear and terror and all this. It doesn't get ratings. Exactly. And I think that we will, because us in the United States were impacted by this at a later stage in the game, I think, or at least maybe it's the hope in me, that we are going to end up where in a few weeks' time, we are sort of returning to some sense of normalcy.
It feels that way. I mean, I think that the only reason
I know Alice wants to get back to normal.
I bet.
This is my blind dog, Alice.
Hi, Alice.
She's not cute. She's ugly, and she knows it.
She is cute. She is
cute. We literally have a man with a stutter leading a blind dog. That might be news.
Perfect. No, I mean, you're right, Ryan. Like, I think that we're going through like the carryover right now from being kind of last to the party, as far as this is concerned. And I think that our direct area is still under pretty strict orders just because of how close we are to New York City.
Not strict compared to freaking California, LA, and all that.
California is really, really crazy. So, like, I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see how the summer shakes out. But I really think that this July 4th date for baseball, I think that that's a real possibility as long as the players in the league can come to an understanding about the best way to do it that works for all of them. At this point, I don't think that there's a person out there, like you said, borderline fan, fair weather fan, whatever. Everybody's going to be glued to the TV as soon as baseball starts.
Right.
Because
And
why not?
yeah, you're exactly right. And the other thing is even people who are just like film files, whatever they're called, people who like movies and television shows. Well, they're running out of stuff to do as well. There's no TV shows left. There's no new Netflix things coming out. Nothing. There's nothing left.
They all look like this. I turn on TV and it looks just like this, and I'm like, what?
It's like this is and it's horrible to say that in something that is a crisis and a pandemic, and that's something that people are dealing with that's impacted them and their family or whatever. But it is a golden opportunity nonetheless, and Major League Baseball just absolutely has to figure out a way to capitalize on this. And if they don't, it will be a massive failure.
I agree. I think,
I've been saying like for like the longest time when this thing first went off, and everybody on Twitter is like, who doesn't give a shit about sports, just said, "Oh, you're crying about your sports." All right, just wait till your shows go away because that's next. Like, okay, you don't like sports, fine, but like, you can't film right now.
No,
so you're sitting there on Netflix having a grand old time. That's going away next. Just
that show or that movie that you've been excited about coming out this summer isn't happening. Like it's coming out next summer or whatever. Like there's so many things that got pushed back. I mean, I'm almost done Netflix. I've been making the joke for the past week. I'm almost done Netflix. Like I'm just done it. Like I finished everything. And I turned on live TV for the first time in like 3 weeks yesterday. And it looks exactly like what we're doing now. Like all these daytime talk shows or whatever, they're all doing the same thing that we're doing, and that can't last forever. That can't. It can't last forever.
It's funny. I've talking about all this stuff that's like kind of going away during all this, and I got to think that there's one business that must be booming right now, and that's I really just thought of it, but because looking at us here on the webcams and everything, but man, cam girls got to be making a killing right now.
Yeah.
They got drive-through strip clubs down south. I saw.
No way.
No contact. Just they're all up here and they all got masks on and everything. But
they got masks on, masks and pasties,
and gloves.
When
it's crazy, man.
Demand, you have to meet demand. It makes sense.
I think the masks. I think masks are part of the new norm. I think that you'll see a lot of people.
Well, you see it in Asian countries all the time.
Even after like the mandates are gone, and even after all that stuff, I think that's going to be something that you see a lot more of. I don't think that once this is over, my positive outlook is that this won't affect us the same way again. Hopefully, we as a civilization learned something from this. Hopefully. It doesn't affect sports to where they start up and have to stop again, because that would be the ultimate bad news.
There's no way.
I don't see it.
They won't
start if they think that that's going to happen, right? And I think that's part of the frustrating part about this. Like I said in the beginning, is like the facts about this shit changes daily. And so there is no facts, right? There is none. If that's the case, then there is no facts. So it's hard to make a judgment call that is in that big of a ballpark, money wise, risk wise, all that stuff. So I wouldn't want to be Adam Silver or any of these commissioners or anybody else. It's got to be a tough call, because Reavy, you said before, like the optics. Right? Like the optics are going to be crazy. People are going to be like, wow, you see it now. It's too soon, or whatever. There's going to be people that are totally against it no matter when this happens. So it's going to be crazy.
Well, I mean, we're seeing right now, as soon as it gets hot, people are pushing against this stuff.
Yes.
And it gets to a point where, like, one way or another, people are going to push back just naturally, because it's not exactly what it was made out to be.
So
what it is, I don't want to get into, but it is what it is. People will react appropriately.
Right.
Well, the other thing that is, and God, I really hate that we're not talking about sports. This is on me equally. But the other thing with all of this, and of course, I'm naturally losing my train of thought where I was going with all of this. is, Kev, like you're saying, like people are going to revolt at some point, right? But something that's lost on people here is that this thing is causing deaths in a way that people never expected, right? People have lost their ability to socialize, which is a major factor for individuals who maybe have some sort of personal crisis or mental disorder, or coming out of the military, I'm familiar with a lot of people who have like PTSD and things, and they go to support groups and things that help them. Well, it's taking lives in a way that nobody ever anticipated, right? And I go back to I think it was 15 years ago, about Ireland had implemented more strict DUI laws, right? And so people, because people were dying drunk driving, right? And months into this law implementation, well, the death rate in Ireland tripled, and everybody's like, why the hell? Like we took away DUIs. Why are people dying? Well, they looked, and it was the suicide rate that went up through the roof, because they stopped letting all these people who are farmers, who the only time they're going to see their friends is when they finish up their day, and then they go drive into town and go to the bar and drink and then drive back and they do their day again. Well, they're no longer going about their merry way. So in effect, something that was implemented to save lives, these DUI rules, ended up costing more than they were losing in the first place, just by a different way. And it's no different than this. If you lock people in their homes, eventually they're going to feel imprisoned. Like I cannot understand 3 months additional home lockdown in LA. That to me, like, what is the goal there? Because the goal should be to fix this, right? And to make it safe for people not to go back outside. This thing has a 2-week lifespan, and but 3 months, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 7. We're looking at
half a year or more.
Tons of lifespans. Like, what? I just don't understand what the end game is there.
There's places up in Washington State that have been on lockdown since a month before it even got to the East Coast. Right. And it's legitimately crazy. But to go back to sports, Ryan, for baseball, jog my memory because I'm not all that familiar. During spring training, a lot of teams go down to Florida, and then is there another location that the rest of the teams go? Like half and half? Do they like go?
Oh no, he's got it. Back off. I don't know if I'm comfortable doing this podcast now. Can you transmit it over Wi-Fi?
Did it for the bit. Sneezing.
I've heard some 5G things. I don't know if I'm comfortable going forward here.
I need what do you call it? I forgot to take my allergy medicine today. Killing me. I was out having.
Go ahead. Answer the question. Answer the question, Ryan.
For spring training.
Yeah.
Do half the teams go to Florida and half the teams go somewhere else, or is it
Arizona? Yeah.
So there's 2 places for spring training.
Yep.
What if for the baseball season, and this is just critical thinking, and maybe they've already thrown this out there, but what if they just all the teams in Major League Baseball flew to either Florida or Arizona, and they just went back and forth from those places?
That's been considered.
Is that on the table? To me, right? Because if you're not having fans, why travel halfway across the country if you don't have to?
Right. Well, and then add to the fact that you're not going to play games in California if you're starting July 4th. You're not going to play games in New York. There's no way.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
Maybe even Philly.
Yeah, you're right. I think that would be ideal in terms of if you're going to split the leagues. But the proposed league split is you have a Central, East, and a West, and it's 10 teams each, and you're mixing AL and NL. So it doesn't really make sense because that's not the way the spring training setup is, and that's just not really how I forget Cactus in the Cactus League in the Arizona, and then the Grapefruit League in Florida. That's not really how they work, which to me would seem like the most reasonable way to go about this. But hopefully, I say hopefully because a lot of times it's not the case, but hopefully Major League Baseball has some people who are smarter than Ryan Spaeder who are trying to figure this out.
I think that was a concession. I think one of the first proposals I saw was to basically play like a spring training version and play it in Arizona and Florida. But I think the concession they've come to now is it's more comfortable for players to play in their hometown or like in their home state of where they're set to play. So to the best of their ability, Major League Baseball, I think, came to the conclusion that the only way this works is if we figure out a way for teams to play at home. And if we can't do that, it's going to be hard to make players play in or go to Florida, go to Arizona, and that's it. All the players funnel there, and they have to stay there for the rest of the year. That's kind of weird.
Well, what do you do for like the Yankees and the Dodgers? It's going to be fun because you're going to have the Tampa Yankees, right? This year, it's they're not going to be the New York Yankees. They're not going to
play, yeah,
right. And you have to make some changes there. It gets weird, but I mean, it's just
they wouldn't have to fly. You're breaking up a little bit, Reavy. What was the last thing you said?
Well, that's.
Oh man, it keeps on freezing.
It does get to the point like we're like Blake Snell was trying to make. Can you hear me?
Kev, I'm not sure if it's your stutter or you keep freezing. It's really difficult to differentiate between.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Fair point. And fuck you too. Okay, moving on. No, I own that. That's me. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Blake Snell. The point is, you do get to the point. If we're talking statistics, you do get to the point where it might be more dangerous for Blake Snell to get on a plane than for him to worry about getting coronavirus and dying, like statistically, because he's a 26-year-old man.
Yeah. Not only that, dude.
Statistically, he's more likely to die on a plane ride to any of these games. So, like, you factor it all in, and it's like, hey, I mean,
think about this, man.
You should be more worried about that than
what's the average age? What's the average age of a manager in Major League Baseball? Those are the people that are
that's a totally
more susceptible to this shit.
But Blake Snell said specifically,
it's getting younger and younger too.
On the line. If that's the case, not to compare this to the flu, but if we're going to compare it to some disease, let's say we're comparing it to the flu. When's the last time an active Major League player died from the flu? This would have been great prep work for Ryan. I should have put you on this. It probably would have been 1918. But we're talking 100 years, and no active Major League players died from the flu. But there's been several active players that have died in plane crashes. Maybe not several. I can think of one. But
I can think of 2, 3.
Corey Lytle and
Holiday.
Oh, right.
And Munson.
So, I mean, all right, good. Perfect. This is why he's here. That's insane. Like right off the top of your head, you can think of 3. Yeah, so it's like he's not really putting his life on the line. He's making a point, and he's saying he's putting his life on the line. He's not at risk. And he knows he's not at risk. He has to say that to help his point. And
not only
that, but he's not at risk.
Dude, not only that, and I know you guys have spoken with enough of these guys. You're 25 to 30 years old, Major League Baseball player. First of all, you have to be so fucking arrogant to be a Major League Baseball player, to be that good at something and to make it to that level and succeed at that level, right? Yep. You've got to have a degree of arrogance. But not only that, think about when us, right? We were, I did a little powerlifting at Penn State, but I was still drunk and everything. But I was invincible when I was 22, 24, 25. I mean, shit, I joined the Marine Corps at 26 years old. Invincible, right? There is no way none of these guys think that they want to play. From what I've heard, these guys want to play baseball. They don't care. They don't think they're going to get this virus. And if they do, they don't even think they're going to be impacted by it for the most part. And I'm sure some of them, it's funny because some of them make comments, and it's oftentimes you wonder who's speaking through them. It's not, a lot of times it's not them, their own opinions. But I'm inclined to think that most of these guys, if it's a difference between getting paid or definitely being healthy, they're going to go with the getting paid because they don't think anything can kill them anyway. Right.
Yeah. One thing we haven't touched on in this discussion, and I know, Reavy, it's not your favorite topic of discussion, but college sports. How is that? I mean, obviously, right now we're probably trampling on college baseballs during the summer, right? There's a bunch of college sports going on in the summer, but that's not obviously happening right now.
Yep.
What's going to happen with college football? If seasons are lost completely, how does that affect future drafts and placement into professional sports? Never mind the fact of whether or not the colleges are even going to open or not, but just how is it going to affect sports, professional sports?
Well, we've already seen Major League Baseball drop the draft to just 5 rounds. This is from like 50 plus, right? It's the whole thing is fucked. And you look at it just even from the perspective of the college. I'm friendly with Coach Rob Cooper, Penn State, and a couple other colleges, coaches, and they're just screwed because now the players, their seniors or their super seniors have given their eligibility back, but then they're expected to give their scholarships to their incoming freshmen, right? And now you have a roster spot issue, right? And then you also run into the loyalty issue, right? You have an incoming freshman who's supposed to be a stud who you want to start for your team, but then you have a guy who, otherwise wouldn't make it in the big leagues or something, but he's been your guy for 4 years. He's played that position and he's done a good job for you. And then he's going to be back for an additional season. So where you're running into like sort of a bit of a dilemma there. And it just, the whole thing, everybody is, in terms of baseball, at least every college is screwed. And not only this, then we're seeing programs be dropped entirely. Bowling Green, gone. And that's not the last one. We will see more programs be dropped. And it's awful.
It's awful. It is awful. Because not every school is a Penn State. Not every school is a, Division I football powerhouse, and it's going to be really interesting to see what.
I think basketball is going to be a big shift because you're looking at
Penn State was going to be so good in the tournament too.
Football, it was close.
They were Lamar Stevens, such a stud. God, I was so looking forward to this, and all I wanted was Penn State to make it further than Villanova, so I could shove it down my father's throat. God.
Maybe next year,
or maybe not.
Or maybe
that's the thing. Football, you can't really replicate that any other way. You have to play the team sport. There's too many players, too many pieces involved. Basketball, we already started to see this whole independent basketball training thing go, and now it's got a little bit of momentum because why go through the whole college thing? And it was all a sham to begin with. You're seeing guys, it's one and done. What are they learning? What are they doing? What's the
nothing?
Point? You could go to a
bullshit
program and just train, and you know what? Just every day, just shoot threes.
Right.
You'll be fine. You can't replicate that in football, but in basketball, 100%.
Isn't that
so? I see basketball being in trouble big time as far as the big time recruits go. Football, I don't see any other way. It has to go through the college football program. You can't change that. Basketball's in trouble.
I can't even believe that people are still doing the one and done thing in college at this point. Like, because if I'm graduating high school and I'm skilled enough to go to the NBA, but the NBA has that stupid rule, I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to play in Italy. All right. I will go and make a professional salary for a year. I'll sign a contract there. And then you can draft me out of there because I'm not going to fucking school and being stuck in a damn dorm room and have to abide by all their rules and everything. Right. I'm not doing that. I know I'm the NBA. Let me go to the NBA or I'll leave this country and play elsewhere. And we haven't seen that in really any sport in recent years. But I remember I don't particularly remember, but I know this individual did this, was Alfonso Soriano was like, screw this, I'm going to play in Japan, and then you can sign me out of there because I see these players coming over from Japan, and they're signing with their first major league contract a multi tens of millions of dollar deal, and I can't sign that type of a deal because I'm not coming over from another professional league of that caliber. So I'm going to go over there and play. Sign me out of there. And that's what he did.
Yeah, but the reason why is because the NBA is a 1-round draft. They have 2, but the second round means nothing.
Nothing, right?
The second round just means you have a non-guaranteed contract, but you're tied to this team. You would literally rather be undrafted than drafted in the second round of the NBA draft, because at least then you're free. You can sign with whatever team you want. It's a 1-round draft, so you have 30 slots. That's it. You're done.
Yeah.
So if you do choose to go overseas, the gamble you're taking is shit. Am I not playing the game? Am I not doing the things these teams want me to do? Because every damn year, it's a guy from Duke, Kansas. Like, it's the same teams every damn year. So you play the game. But now, when that's not an option, the college is not the best option. It never was.
Right.
To go to college to learn things, and you're staying 1 year, that's insane.
How fucked up is it, though?
Clearly is not the best option. It does make sense to go overseas and make money.
Right.
To be in a program that will probably also pay you
to
promote their thing and do that instead of going to it's just, now it makes more sense. But again, like,
shit, what is it? Is it LaMelo Ball?
Going to Duke, got drafted 1 through 10.
Right.
That's why they did it. Well, now that's gone, at least in the short term.
Is it LaMelo Ball? Is he the youngest Ball brother? He bought his team over there.
No, he did.
He bought
That's
it.
awesome.
But how crazy is it that the college, the NCAA is like working on, maybe they already worked it out, but they were going to start paying players or letting players make money off of their name and their likeness and stuff like that. And then, gone.
Yeah.
It couldn't have picked up another time for that to happen.
Now they should be like, hey, you know what? You want to make money off of it? You want to, like, we'll let you have a house on campus, whatever it takes. Right. I have no idea what you're doing now. I mean, it's got to be tough. This is a big problem for colleges. And you know what? I couldn't care less, because colleges they charge too much damn money and you already know how I feel about minor league football.
I know.
And I love college basketball. I think it's a good version of the sport. But minor league football is bullshit. And whatever. I've been drinking, so I mean, it is what it is.
I just want to point out that Lou Williams and Kyle Korver were second rounders.
Yeah, whatever.
Draymond Green was a second rounder.
You're going to be that guy to, like,
Draymond Green was a second rounder. Dennis Rodman, second rounder. Averaged 16.5 rebounds per game for like 7 seasons.
Tony Parker was like the 29th pick. Yeah, I get it.
Marc Gasol, second rounder. Tony Parker is not a good example for my scenario, because I believe Tony Parker came from France.
But you're a math guy, and if you do the math, the second round picks, mathematically, it's insane how much they don't matter at all whatsoever.
And you are what the French call les incompetents.
Ryan Spaeder, thank you so much for being with us tonight, man. I really appreciate it. Where can people find The Walk Off, your new podcast?
We got it everywhere. Apple, Stitcher, I don't know, whatever the Android version of that is. It's on all of them. I don't really care. Just go to my Twitter. I don't really give a shit. I just kind of want to hang out, have some beers, keep talking some shit. like it's like Kev said. Kev texted me the other day. You guys, let me know. Are things open down there yet? And I was like, no, why? And he's like, I need a $7 beer so badly.
Right? I want to overpay for beer. So much right now.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, man. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down and talk some sports, talk some whatever, man. This is all crazy. I can't wait to have more than this to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, that's
I'm so sick of talking about this.
It's crazy.
So, the thing is, the worst of it is, like, as terrible as this is to say, but like, this has been quote unquote good for business for me, because radio shows across the country and podcasts across the country are running out of people to ask to come on. So I'm getting asked to go on shows that I normally wouldn't. Just this weekend, I think I did 7 or 8 different hits, one with ESPN that ESPN typically avoids me because I kind of talk shit on them all the time. And, I doing hits all over the place that, good for my business, I guess, right? But the only thing I'm talking about is the same shit over and over again. It's like I might as well just hit play and let a recording go off on how Major League Baseball owners and Major League Baseball drop the ball and everything, and it's just the same stuff over and over again. But this, I'll give you guys credit, is never the same, and it's always a good time to talk sports and whatever else might be news.
Whatever else might be news. I've been watching tons of TV and just binge watching things and movies, and I'll make a recommendation to you guys. If you have Amazon Prime, I recommend it's a crime drama called Bosch. It's great. It's great.
English or
no, it's American. It takes place in California, but it's got a bunch of people from like The Wire. A bunch of
here I got to interrupt you here since we didn't talk much stats. Ready? I watched the first season and maybe 2 episodes of The Wire, and I didn't enjoy it. I'm one of the ones who just didn't care for it, right? But The Wire has one of my favorite things in any show ever. And it's the naming convention of the people in the show is all like bench players from the Orioles from like 1960 to 1980 or so.
Wow, really?
Like Gus Trinidos was a backup catcher for the did I say his name? Triandus? I don't know. However, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
Basically, all the guys' names.
Triandus,
Yeah.
All the guys whose all their names are backup Orioles players. It's really actually fascinating.
That's pretty awesome. That is awesome. The Wire, it's tough because it's there's a threshold in time where it just becomes corny, right? So The Wire was being made when like Internet Explorer was big, and every time they use a phone, it looks stupid. Every time they get on a computer, it looks stupid. But the drama, the characters, The Wire gets better and better and better. The second season sucks. I was never a fan.
No, you know what? A connoisseur like myself will say that the second season. If you say the second season sucks, you are not a true connoisseur of the second season. It's a palate cleanser for the whole show. I'm telling you.
I can see that. I can see that.
You don't see it going there because they literally say, you know what? Everything you loved about the first season, go on.
Forget about it.
A new character doing a new thing.
Forget about it.
I saw a great, a good bit. I rather heard on the radio the other day, somebody talking about people from Baltimore bragging about like The Wire and stuff, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like this whole show just shits on where you're from. It's like this is not something you'd be like, yo, I'm from Baltimore. You know where The Wire's filmed? Like,
from top to bottom, it shits on it. Like
no, this is not what you want to be bragging about. Be like, yeah, we got the Orioles or something. All right, like you sooner stake claim to a team that loses 104 games than The Wire.
Right. But The Wire is good. But Bosch on Amazon. We just finished it, the newest season or whatever. We're all caught up. It's good.
Yo, guys, I'm up to keep talking if you're not gonna hang up, but I gotta piss and blow my nose like a motherfucker. So
5% left.
We can end it here. I mean, we're pretty much good, right? I mean,
yeah. Let's do it again soon because this is always a blast, and I miss you guys having some beers. I do recall. I feel like I'm doing a show in your living room because that fucking cat always gets me, right? And I am with my allergies bothering me, and it's no different. I'm like, wow, this is like authentic. This is great.
Authentic via the vibe.
Yeah.
Everybody go check out The Walk Off. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. Ryan Spaeder, thank you so much for taking the time and being on our show, man. I really appreciate it, as always.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Kevin Reavy, thank you so much, man. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you go check out our sponsor at eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN. Get 20% off, free shipping and free stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back very soon, just like sports. God willing. Love you guys so much. Wash your fucking hands. Be safe. We'll see you guys next time.